Mayor Andrew Gillich was elected mayor of Biloxi in a special election in May of 2015. And then he was elected to a full term 7 months ago in June of 2017. Mayor Gillich was born and raised in Biloxi, the son of Andrew M. Gillich, Sr., and Jacobina Sequel Gillich. Our mayor was taught the value of hard work and dedication as a stock boy in the family grocery business, Foodland, and as a can catcher in his grandparents' seafood factory, Seacoast, and as a deckhand on the Pan American Clipper. He learned discipline and leadership at a young age as a graduate of the Gulf Coast Military Academy. He also graduated from Notre Dame High School in Biloxi in 1965 and from the University of Houston in 1970, where he earned a degree in mathematics. He first entered the computer field in 1968 while also continuing related postgraduate training in linear programming and operations research and systems analysis. He worked at Data Control Corporation and Johnson Space Center in Houston. He returned home in 1972 as a scientific programmer at Ingalls Shipbuilding, and then opened his own software company, Gulf South Analytical, in 1983 in Biloxi. His first business was the first high-tech business in Biloxi, and he eventually served customers in nearly 40 states across the nation. His clients included more than 50% of the largest public school districts in the country. Also, among his clients in the 1980s was the city of Biloxi, where he computerized the city's accounting and financial management systems. He then did the same for the cities of Bay St. Louis and Gulfport. Oh, and one other thing. Our mayor likes to be called Fofo. As we all know, nearly everybody in Biloxi has a nickname. He was tagged with this as a young toddler because of his affinity for Jack and the Beanstalk. You know, fee-fi, fo-fo-fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Honorable Andrew Fofo Gillich, Mayor of Biloxi.
Let me tell you, I'm convinced that if the Saints that played that song after that last field goal, they may be playing for Super Bowl this week. But anyway, good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for being here for Biloxi's State of the City 2018. It's great to see the tremendous interest in our city, and thanks again. You know, we acknowledge and recognize many of the Biloxi team members, partners, and special guests with us today, and I thank all of them. But before I go on, I have expressed my appreciation to a few more. Of course, General Leahy and Team Kiesler, my fellow Mayor Billy Hughes, and Dr. John Kelly, his CAO, Mayor Tommy Schaefer, and from Waveland, from Diamond Head, and Councilman from Ward 3, my niece, Jamie, Wetzel, Morgan. So I got all of that out there. Anyway, thanks again, but there's a couple more I need to say. And again, I'm just thinking about what has happened to me as mayor. My brother mayor, Billy Hughes, and I just returned from Disney, D.C., and we did some good things, and I'm just amazed that here I am, mayor, and responsible for leading our city. And it's just, I got to thank you and everyone for allowing me to live that dream. But first, I need to thank my wife, Serena, my whole amazing family for putting up with me and helping me in more ways than I can explain to be mayor of Biloxi. It's been my dream come true. And thank all of y'all very, very much. You know, for Serena and I, this year, September 1st, it'll be our 50th wedding anniversary. And you know she's got to be a saint, right? So She's not here with us today. She's home recovering from ankle surgery a couple of weeks ago. But for the cameras, I love you, Serena. Next, the Biloxi City Council. Under our form of government, the mayor is the only citywide elected official. He leads and runs the day-to-day operations of the city. But to be successful, a mayor needs the support of the city council. And for me, that means I need the support of at least 4 out of 7 council members. Now, I'm proud to say that on many occasions, well, on some occasions, I have the support of all 7. So thank you. Appreciate that. I want each one of them to know that I appreciate the work that they do every day in making things happen in Biloxi. Thank you again. A little over 6 months ago, I was elected to my first full term as mayor. And we have embarked on planning major, ambitious initiatives to transform and improve the quality of life in our city and make Biloxi an even more special place than it is today. So, enough talk. Get comfortable for 24 minutes, and we'll show you, as they'd say in Spanish, ¿Qué pasa? What's happening? And like they say in the Irish channel, where we at? So enjoy the video. Make no mistake, you'll see big things happening in 2018 in all areas of our city. It's happening now. Downtown Biloxi has been dormant since that failed experiment known as urban renewal brought us the Vieux Marché. Let the word go forth today. There is no Vieux Marché. There is Howard Avenue. In February, we'll open bids to bring two-way traffic on Howard Avenue with on-street parking, authentic facades, and a street that will be an attraction. Something we can all be proud of. The restored Howard Avenue will invite residents and visitors to new restaurants like the $4 Million Mugshots that open on Main Street, or the Le Cafe Beignet Shop in the old Biloxi Public Library, or the Southport Line Restaurant in a restored home on Howard Avenue. Think about walking into a happening downtown area after a Shuckers game, or a show at the Beau Rivage or Hard Rock, or after seeing a production in the Sanger. Yes, the Sanger Theater is going to be a huge part of our downtown restoration. It's a gem, not only for Biloxi, but for the entire coast. And we will find the money, and restoration will begin this summer. The beauty of the Bark building at Raynor and Howard was covered up in the 70s and is mostly vacant now. We're seeking partners to restore its beautiful facade, create new ground floor retail office spaces, along with residential on the 2nd and 3rd levels. For years, there's been talk of finding a way to attract visitors from the thousands of hotel rooms south of Highway 90 to our downtown area. But first, we had to give them more to see and do. And I think we're doing that with our restoration efforts. Then, we had to give them an easier way to explore north of Highway 90. You'll see construction begin on 2 new pedestrian crosswalks. The first one will be built at MGM Park and Highway 90, west of Cobbett Street. Work will begin in the next couple of months to be complete by the end of this year. The second, currently under design, will be built north of the Small Craft Harbor and Highway 90 and should begin by the end of the year. You have to go back 25 years to the arrival of casino gaming to find the last time we had 3 major hotels under construction at the same time. That's happening now. The Hilton Garden Inn, northeast of the Small Craft Harbor, will open its 100 rooms late this summer. And just next door, the Watermark will transform the dorm at Santa Maria into a beautiful 154 all-suites hotel about the same time. Further down the street, next to the Doubletree, site work is underway for the La Quinta Inn and Suites, a 4-story, 66-room hotel. Obviously, developers see the opportunity in Biloxi. They saw the 7% growth in sales tax last year and the 5.7 million visitors. The Finish Line Performance Karting Track will open in June on Beach Boulevard in West Biloxi. It includes a regulation 3/4-mile SOTY performance go-kart track along with an 1,120-foot junior track. Another exciting attraction, for our regular visitors and will certainly bring new ones. You'll notice these things are all occurring along the waterfront, one of our most important assets. Many communities in our country can and do have casino resorts, but we have the total package: the history and culture, the casinos with great restaurants and top-name entertainment, charter boats for deep-sea fishing, a sunset sail on the Seafood Museum schooners, and a growing lineup of family attractions like Margaritaville, all set against the backdrop of our beautiful shoreline. That's why I'm so excited about the vision of a continuous boardwalk along the front beach. You can see the test piles being driven at the foot of Veterans Avenue, beginning construction of a joint city-county boardwalk that will connect the Coast Transit Center and all the restaurants between Rodenberg and Veterans to be completed this summer. At the Biloxi Lighthouse, we introduce an appealing look to an area in the shadow of our most treasured landmark. New landscaping, newly paved parking, and the unsightly barricade that made it hard to access the beach is gone in favor of new decorative bollards. Working with MEMA and FEMA, the Lighthouse Pier, damaged by Hurricane Nate, will be up and running for this summer. Point Cadet, the same thing. I hope you've heard about the exciting plans we have for this area, which in the early 1900s was the epicenter for the seafood capital of the world. Construction will begin mid-year on boardwalks from the Palace Casino Resort and the Point Cadet Fishing Bridge, under the Biloxi Bay Bridge, around the waterfront of the Point Cadet Marina and the Golden Nugget to Margaritaville and on to Oak Street, making it easier for pedestrians to experience the beauty and the excitement of a genuine Biloxi working waterfront. The Point Cadet waterfront is our golden opportunity for economic development, to enhance tourism and our seafood and maritime industries in authentic but modern ways, embracing the future while honoring the past. Biloxi will once again become a center for sustainable seafood wild harvesting, as well as new, cutting-edge methods for food production like aquaculture. The vacant Point Cadet property offers a beautiful and practical site for this effort. We've asked our legislators to allow the creation of the Point Cadet waterfront enterprise, using rents already being collected from the tenants at Point Cadet, to help Biloxi and its state partners begin this new enterprise based on authentic Biloxi waterfront experience. This is not recreating the factories of the past. We are learning from and building on our history and natural environments in new ways. We're planning for an enhanced modern marina, a pavilion for fishing tournaments and festivals, shops and restaurants in a festival seafood marketplace, and a public offloading dock for fresh oysters. Think about what we already have: the Gulf Coast Billfish Classic Tournament, the Poker Run, the Southern Kingfish Association Nationals. No doubt there will be more added to this list. There will be open structures on ground level for parking and pedestrian access at ground level to an open area seafood marketplace with kiosks and mobile sidewalk cafes that can be moved before a storm. Second floor structures will be above FEMA flood level and will have restaurants, retail shops, and balconies built to post-Katrina codes. These are visions right now, and with the help from our legislators and state partners, we can make it reality. Plenty of things are happening on the point. Golden Nuggets Saltgrass Steakhouse is under construction on the north side of Highway 90 at Myrtle Street. Opening this summer, the 9,500 square foot restaurant will provide both indoor and patio dining. We're excited about the Betsy Ann, the new paddle wheeler at Point Cadet Marina, offering dinner cruises and eco tours, complementing harbor tours we already have had for years with the popular sailfish down at the small craft harbor. Yes, we're expecting the Ship Island Ferry will sail from Biloxi this year. Once again, Margaritaville has applied to the Secretary of State to lease the land west of Margaritaville to construct a world-class amusement park. On Back Bay, we're working with the Department of Marine Resources to build a boardwalk with steps leading down to a living shoreline for those wanting to flounder, soft-shell crab, and to fish, from Forest Avenue to Kensington Drive. We're in the permitting phase for some significant improvements at the Sherman Canaan commercial dock on Back Bay, where the majority of our shrimping fleet dock. at Hiller Park, a 1,400-foot boardwalk and overlook along with the north side, and the city's third splash pad was completed. Thanks to Harrison County for funding help. We'll be adding more boardwalks and sidewalks in the park this year. We will be completing dredging operations on the canals in Hiller Park and other canals along both sides of the bay, just like we did at Point Cadet, where the slips were deepened from 4.5 to 7.5 feet to accommodate the larger vessels we're seeing. Those boat owners now find Wi-Fi internet access at Point Cadet and Small Craft Harbor, and we also redid the boat launch at the Small Craft Harbor. The Pops Ferry Causeway Park is a project that's been 35 years in the making. Contractors are racing to an April completion of a 1,000-square-foot bait shop, new piers, lighting, and waterfront walkways, and plenty of parking. In the past year, 240 more homes and businesses in the Wool Market area received access to city sewer. But I know we have a long ways to go. Nearly 1,700 of the 3,100 homes and businesses in Wool Market now have access to city water and/or sewer. We have completed a comprehensive engineering master plan to guide us in making about $35 million in improvements needed to bring city quality services to this area. It's a lot, and we're not going to get there overnight, but we're going to get there. This year, construction will start on 2 new fire stations to serve the Wool Market and Cedar Lake communities. Construction of a 13,000 square foot fire command station at Cedar Pops will begin this year using a unique form of financing through the South Mississippi Planning and Development District. And we'll also begin the construction of a second fire station on property the city acquired on Old Highway 67. I'm excited about what's going to be called the Wool Market City Center, located on property the city acquired off Cayley Cove. It will house a place for community gatherings and a larger, permanent Harrison County Public Library. 2 significant incidents occurred this past year. Tuesday, March the 7th, about 2:30 p.m., a CSX freight train collided with a charter bus carrying 50 passengers at this Main Street crossing. And in October, as we had over 800 RVs along our waterfront and thousands of visitors in town for cruising the coast, Hurricane Nate rolled ashore. We know when hurricanes are coming and we know how to prepare. But the train accident, as horrific as it was, demonstrated that we have the best trained, best equipped, and best prepared fire and police departments. Multiple acts of selfless heroism were seen that day, not only from our firefighters and police officers, but from neighboring agencies, clergy, and citizens. It was gratifying to see that our thousands of hours of training and the compassion of everyday Biloxi citizens all came together in the aftermath of this tragedy. Today we're in the design stage to build connecting streets in order to close rail crossings in East Biloxi, while we are continuing to push CSX to make repairs to existing crossings in Biloxi. I said it before the accident, and I'll say it again. 29 crossings in an 8-mile stretch is too many, and 21 of those crossings are in a 2-mile stretch. That's a recipe for disaster, especially considering that CSX rails have been raised over the years to a level that causes issues at many crossings. Our part is to create connecting streets to avoid dead-end roads. To do that, we're going to reprogram federal money that HUD said we couldn't use on the Sanger Theater. Then Nate, its relatively small size meant we couldn't have federal funding to engage in our debris removal contract. We did it ourselves, with plenty of help from our garbage and trash contractors who were only days into their contract when the storm struck. Pelican Waste brought in crews from as far away as Louisiana to help pick up debris. Our Public Works and Parks and Recreation departments hauled away more than 250 cubic yards of debris from neighborhoods, enough to fill more than 20 dump trucks. Our city workforce of more than 650 employees handles these issues and also provide the day-to-day services that you expect and deserve. Last year, our Community Development Department issued nearly 3,000 permits, including 391 for commercial buildings and 714 for residential buildings. We saw the completion of the new Biloxi Junior High School, which welcomed more than 1,000 7th and 8th graders back in August. Our Parks and Recreation Department, using a grant, added pickleball courts at the Pops Ferry Recreation Complex. They also installed new heating and cooling systems in dressing and restrooms at the natatorium. And this year, you'll see similar improvements at the Snyder Center. Our Public Works Department processed more than 9,000 work orders, totaling $3.2 million, used nearly 13,000 tons of asphalt to repair roadways, and installed and repaired more than 200 streets and traffic signs. They also maintained more than 50 city buildings, 23 water wells, 127 lift stations, and more than 5,000 fire hydrants. Our fire department responded to nearly 7,500 calls for service, almost a 10% increase year to year. Medical emergencies continue to be 2/3 of our calls. We increased training and now have 70 EMTs and 4 paramedics. The number of actual house fires was down by 10 last year to 201. You're going to see the city put a new 33-foot all-aluminum fireboat in service this year, replacing our 17-year-old 27-foot fireboat. In the police department, we had more than 120,000 calls for service, 3/4 of those calls being generated by proactive police officers. We gave our police officers new tools to help deal with the panhandling issues that plague our city, like so many in the country. In fact, on the panhandling and transient issue, we are awaiting word on our grant application with the Bloomberg Mayor's Challenge. We would use the grant to work with local service agencies to establish a homeless assessment center in Biloxi. We remain a safe city. We had 3 homicides in all of 2017, and all 3 resulted in arrest. When I became mayor, I had a goal of being more proactive with our legal department. We're not afraid to stand up for Biloxi in court, but I wanted more, and I'm pleased to report to you that last year we recovered more than $300,000 in money we had been shorted in city leases, and by updating existing leases and creating new ones, mainly for cell towers, the legal department has generated another $700,000. The legal department also worked with the Board of Supervisors to issue a port bond that will be paid by Harrison County without raising taxes, and producing $6.5 million to fund those boardwalks and the second Highway 90 crossover that I mentioned earlier, and to issue a $1 million tax increment financing bond to complete the streets and public infrastructure for the Walmart neighborhood market on Pops Ferry Road. Our legal department also obtained $1 million in Tidelands grants through the DMR and state legislature to fund the West Biloxi Boardwalk. The department is now working on additional sources for funding the downtown Biloxi Restoration Plan, Point Cadet Waterfront Marketplace, a neighborhood grocery store that we would like to see on the city property at Division and Cobbett. And yes, we're continuing to work with the South Mississippi Planning and Development District to see new uses for the vacant Walmart site on Pass Road. This all helped our bottom line. Financially speaking, our major revenue, property taxes, sales tax, and gaming tax remained strong in 2017, and we anticipate this to continue in 2018. All these projects at some point worked their way through our engineering department. We saw the completion of the widening of Pops Ferry Road. And of course, I'm happy to report that Coast Transit is now offering service all the way to Pass Road and beyond. At the southern end of Pops Ferry Road, we're continuing final design on connecting Pops Ferry Road to Highway 90. We hope to begin property acquisition later this year. In 2016, we effectively reorganized the engineering department, creating a separate public works department, allowing our engineers and staff to focus on the many challenges that have to be addressed on a daily basis in our growing city. At the same time, the program management division was created and now manages a $350 million infrastructure project. That was a heavy decision that was thrust upon us. The third-party management plan from 2014 ran out of steam and budget. With help from MEMA and FEMA, it's working. Engineering has been coordinating another significant project that has been kicked around for the past 15 years. That is the new main gate for Keesler at Forest Avenue and Division. We have finalized agreements on property acquisition for Phase 1, which is the area inside the gate. In fact, We are out for bids and expect construction to begin within 60 days. Design work on Phase 2, that's the area on Division Street from Forest Avenue to I-110, is still being done. We're looking to create a 4-lane boulevard with a center median and a streetscape that will be inviting to a variety of new businesses. During this legislative session, we are asking the state legislature for the final element of funding for this important project. Let me say again, one of the biggest endeavors at Engineering with Program Management Division is overseeing the infrastructure work in East Biloxi, north of the CSX Railway. This is a $126 million project that covers 55 miles of roadway. Today I can report to you that more than 30 miles of asphalt has been laid. The train is picking up steam, but we're still a ways from the station. That's little consolation for those homes and businesses that are still on the 20 miles of milled up roads. After seeing mistakes that were made and the misery it caused, I pushed for temporary paving of the major roadways in the area, which we did. I continue to push the contractor for more work, for more progress, and I promise you that you will never see those types of miscalculations and mistakes on my watch. We will begin the infrastructure work south of the CSX Railway this month. It will cover the area from Seashore Methodist to just east of I-110. It's an 800-day, $23 million project, and it is as complicated as the North contract. But you will not see the kind of milling and wholesale destruction of roads and neighborhoods. It will proceed logically and orderly. There are going to be inconveniences because it's major work, but this time we built into the contracts far more city control. Work in an area must be 75% complete before the contractor can move to the next area, and only if the city approves. I want to acknowledge and applaud some of our partners that we have here with us today. The Keesler Air Force Base and Team Keesler continues to demonstrate why it is the best base in the entire United States Air Force worldwide. Last year, Keesler graduated more than 30,000 students from 163 career fields, led the Air Force in cutting-edge training methods, treated more than 800,000 patients through the world-class medical care, and the Hurricane Hunters flew more than 800 hours across more than 90 missions and into 12 named storms. The Biloxi Housing Authority this year is celebrating nearly 8 decades of providing safe, decent, and affordable housing. Today, more than 1,700 families are served, and last year it finalized its transition to rental assistance demonstration program. This allows public housing units to move to a Section 8 platform, ensuring that units remain as permanent affordable housing. Of the 10 developments owned and maintained by the Biloxi Housing Authority, 3 are designated specifically for seniors. The Biloxi Veterans Administration is Biloxi's second largest employer. It's top-notch and continues to grow. I want to make note of the tremendous service that continues to be provided at the Biloxi VA to veterans all along our Gulf Coast. Be assured that the Biloxi Public Schools is the best bang for the buck around. The new junior high, along with the newly created Biloxi Upper Elementary for 5th and 6th graders, are state-of-the-art facilities, and their highly qualified staff are preparing our students to compete on a global level in college, career, and beyond. Susan Hunt. How could you have a State of the City address without mentioning Susan Hunt? Our beloved career educator, Biloxi's outstanding citizen, and along with her sister Martha, are matriarchs of Mardi Gras. And for Fat Tuesday, Susan is designated as Biloxi's official streetwalker. Last year, her Biloxi Excel by 5 opened its Family Resource Center and Families First for Mississippi at the Lopez School. Susan, whose love for Biloxi is unrivaled, is a guiding light for parents of children under age 5, the next generation of Biloxians. Sustaining our quality of life, Biloxi's unique quality of life, is what drives all the things I've discussed with you today. And no doubt, it's for you and me, our children and grandchildren, and those who will call it home in the next 300 years. When you say Biloxi to most anyone in the country, they know what you're talking about. Whether it's through Keesler, or casinos, or cruising, or our colorful history. We've stepped it up. And as we move forward on this ambitious program of work, we cherish and appreciate our good fortune. The fact that God has given us a beautiful community and its majestic seascape, the water, the islands, the oaks, the miles of living shoreline. This innate beauty is something you cannot buy or build, yet it is a great source of wealth, this Biloxi of ours, not only for its beauty, but for the enjoyment it provides for visitors and locals alike. Biloxi, it is a magical place. Thank you. Thank you for everyone. That was great. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a lot of work in that, so let me acknowledge. Thank you. Thank you very much. I know there's a lot of facts and figures, and I think like a bulletin at church, we've got some to take home. There's a lot of figures and numbers and so forth, and I want to thank, of course, our public affairs, Vincent Creel and Cecilia, for putting this together, and everyone involved, but also our directors. My little philosophy is that in God we trust, everybody else bring me numbers. So, Vincent and Cecilia, this is not in the script, too, Vincent. So, I want to thank y'all for the hard work that was done, and it's just a tremendous amount of pride and pleasure that we talk about the things that are happening now. So, you can see that our goal is to transform vision into reality. And this program of work is the result of many months of planning and meetings and building partnerships, and all of them making things happen. I need to express special appreciation to our many partners from the state, local, and federal levels, and also thanks to them, to the local engineers and contractors and businesses. Most importantly, I thank you all, my fellow residents and friends of our beloved Biloxi. You are the people who make Biloxi the very special place that it is. A piece of artwork hangs on one of the walls in my office at City Hall, and it proudly spells out, "We are Biloxi." And this small banner states, "It is in our hands to create a better world for all who live in it." With focus and determination, with drive, and with your continued support, and an undying love for our city, we're making great things happen now. And let the word go forth. We are Biloxi. And it is in our hands to create a better world for those who live in it. Thank you all. God bless you. God bless Biloxi.